Dude, so we were the first comedians ever to be in a Cirque du Soleil show, and
it was very fun because
Yes.
Brad is you're here because Brad's here, I would assume.
Thank you.
Brad would be telling me backstage, he's like, hey, a fan's outside, like, coming to see the show tonight. And I'm like, who? He's like, Chris. I'm like, Chris? He's like, Chris Jericho. And I'm like, sorry, the guy I spent my childhood just watching submit people. I used to try and be Chris Jericho. And I'm like, he's coming to the show?
Yeah.
And then all these celebrities would come because they were your friends. And then you'd be like, anyone coming for you, Chris? I couldn't even get Prince Andrew.
Well, if you showed him a picture of me from the back, maybe. That's a pedophile joke, everybody.
For any of my fans in, that's a pedophile joke.
Yes, very much so. But it was so different as stand-up comedians being in a Cirque du Soleil show because normally I have to follow another stand-up comedian. In Cirque du Soleil, I had to follow two guys that juggled each other with their feet. And then they're like, and now that you've seen that amazing stunt, here's a dwarf that can speak. And I'd walk out and be like, he talks? And it's not a riddle?
One of Brad's hardest things in that show was, so there's this act called the Wheel of Death, where these you can actually die in it.
Yes.
And obviously these are world-class performers who are probably not going to die.
Yes.
But they could die. And his job as the main comedian in the show was whenever something goes wrong and it needs to be filled, right, he has to go and fill. So usually, hey, there's a lighting failure. Oh, the mechanism's broken. Go and fill.
Yes.
But you also, in your contract, if someone dies, you have to cover.
Yes, so, all right.
Be funny enough that they stop having traumatic flashbacks.
Yes. So one night, at the Wheel of Death, we have, like we said, really talented people are in the show. The show is called Mad Apple. It's at the New York Hotel. It's great. You should go see it. One night, one of our guy who's in the Wheel of Death flew out of the Wheel of Death. And you're not supposed to do that. And there's no net. There's a padding based on a law, but he missed the pads, and he just... right on the stage.
It didn't sound that soft.
No. Yeah, it was like that. And then, we see our safety people come out and get him, and then they start walking him to the back. They're like, Brad, go. And I'm just sitting there like, what the fuck? So I walk up on stage, there's a kid crying in the third row, and people are just dead quiet, and the only thing I could think to say is, wow, Mexicans really do all the jobs that white people don't want to do. Accurate.
That's why you're no longer at the show, because
That's very true.
He was Guatemalan, and there was this whole HR complaint.
This whole thing that happened. But now you live in New York. You close out the Comedy Cellar, the famed Comedy Cellar, every night, and you're touring. You're doing international tours. And he has raps. Please follow him on Instagram because there's new raps every time, as you can tell.
Yeah.
And now
I love what people have been telling me I have to promote more, and so I have to do the thing where I go, you can find me online. My name's Chris Turner, but if you forget, you can go to BritishComedian.com.
You have that?
Yeah, I own that, and EnglishComedian.com. Because when I was a kid, my dad was like, he's going to be a comedian. So he bought BritishComedian.com and EnglishComedian.com.
That's so sweet.
Yeah. That's what he wanted. And I was like, Dad, did you also buy worldsbiggestgenitals.com for that to go? He was like, I already own that one, Christopher. That's my...
And now, you're married, I'm married. We have kids. Our children play together. Thank God we both have girls.
I know.
It's so much better.
It's so much better.
We have friends that have boys, and they're so dumb.
My wife is a very girly girl, and so wanted a girl, and she was like, we're gonna have a girl, and I was like, well, I think we can, you can fly to India, and they do, there's some kind of genetic thing which is technically illegal. But she's like, well, it's a 50-50 chance, and at 10 weeks you can get the a blood test which can tell you with like 99% probability whether it's a boy or a girl, right?
Yeah.
And we get the results, and she's got like the letter, and she goes, "Are you ready to find out whether it's going to be a girl or an abortion?"
And because you live in New York, that can still happen. By the way, feminism. Yeah. Fuck you, non-feminist men. She'll kill that baby if she wants to. and thank God it was a girl, so you never have to find out if she was joking.
Never had to find out if my wife's a murderer. No.
So your first impressions of the Comedy Store, what are you thinking?
It's lovely, isn't it? It's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's nice. What I like a lot is it shows like how much you're loved, that they're just like, here's a show and you get to pick, and no one was like, we've never fucking heard of this British guy. What, you want to put him on last? Fuck off. Yeah. It's like, no, Brad, we trust you.
Yeah.
And that's very
well.
kind of you.
The good part is that once you've seen a dwarf tell jokes, nothing can get weirder after that. And we said, challenge accepted. Ladies and gentlemen, did you have a good time tonight?
If you stood the fuck up for me, I want you to stand the fuck up for Brad Williams, because this man is a fucking genius.
Well, now the back row can't see me. Guys, you're amazing. Thank you for coming out to Short Sets with Brad Williams. Thank you for coming to the best fucking comedy club in the world, the Comedy Store. Thanks for being a part of Netflix Is a Joke. We'll see you guys all again real soon.